Hello there, welcome to a new episode of The Power of Surrender with Hugh, where every day we take a card from the powerful Power of Surrender cards deck from Dr Judith Orloff, and we talk about it and get some inspiration and some food for thought from these cards in these challenging times we're living in at the moment. Today's card, my friends, is a very profound card. I can deeply relate to this. Surrender the idea you can fix someone. This is a troubling card for many people because we do have this, some people like to help other people, and I'm one of those people as well, and somewhere deep down you think you can fix a person, or you feel like, oh, if I could just help them, I could do this, that and the other, and it doesn't work like that, because unfortunately the best will in the world, if somebody doesn't want to be helped or doesn't feel like they need help, they're just going to have to do their own thing. We all have our own responsibility to take for our own happiness and well-being. It's not somebody else's responsibility, and that's where relationships can get into trouble. Been there, bought the t-shirt. So this card says, surrender the idea you can fix someone. And it says it's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try and fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. Each person must be accountable. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. Now, again, this is a tricky one for people, but I think as soon as you're in a relationship where you're waiting on somebody to do things to make you feel happy, you're in trouble. That's not a nice thing for some people to hear, but that's just, unfortunately, my friends, the way it is in life. It is one of these universal laws. The trick to it really, and of course we're all learning this as we move forward, in every relationship we learn something more from it and about this. And one of the things I think that becomes clear to me as we move on this journey of life is really, if you're happy and the other person in a relationship is already happy, and you're not dependent on one another to make each other happy, then you're starting off on a good footing. If you're depending on somebody else to lift you up and to keep you up there, that's a lot of energy and effort that's going to be required to do that, and it's just something that cannot be maintained without having consequences of loss for the person who's having to do that extra effort. Now, that's not to say that sometimes we can't be there for one another when we go through difficult times. Of course, that's an entirely different thing. But what I'm talking about here is, if somebody come into the relationship and they're all happy and upbeat and the other person is down like this, it's not the happy, upbeat person's responsibility to lift them up. That is the responsibility of the other person to do that. Again, in some ways, this is a very difficult concept to grasp for people. For others, it's painfully clear and obvious. I'm not going to sit here in judgment of however you see it, but I definitely think it's very, very interesting things to think about. If we're all responsible for our own happiness, if you think about it, and one of the things that really resonated for me with this was listening to the speaker Abraham Hicks talk about it. And they're just basically saying that, if you are already happy, if you're already like, I'm good, I don't need, anyone to come along and fix me or make me better or whatever it is. If you're in that good space already, and somebody comes in and they're also in that good space, then basically then you get like this extra layer of awesome on top of what you already have. This is where relationships can get tricky as well, because there's always when people fall in love, everything is rosy and everything seems to be perfect, and then the honeymoon period ends, and that's when you're going to discover this situation. Are you propping up another person to keep them happy? Are they dependent on you behaving or being a certain way in order for them to be happy? And then you've got some problems, unfortunately, that are very difficult to fix unless you are able to say to somebody, it's your responsibility to make yourself happy. It's not mine. But I mean, think about it. A lot of people, if you were to say to your significant other, it's not my responsibility to make you happy, that's up to you. You probably have a little personal riot going on, but that's the whole point for me. That is the whole point. Is that why would there be that person? Why is it someone else's responsibility to make happy? That's actually factually not fair or true. And it's giving away our power and our personal responsibility, and that's why it leads to trouble in relationships. And why people just get fed up, because they're like, I can't maintain keeping another person happy. Now, I think love is a wonderful thing. I go around all the time with hashtag love is everything. Some friends of mine have fallen in love recently, and it's the most beautiful, wonderful thing to see. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm here. I'm a big fan of love. But this card brings up, as I said, a very, very interesting point, which it is not our responsibility. And as it says here, surrender the idea that you can fix someone. And it's actually if for people who can do this, and it's not everybody, but for those who can do this, it's a tremendous relief. You're like, I don't have to make them. It's my responsibility to make me happy, and if I'm happy and I'm in a good space and I'm working positively and I'm going with the flow, then that will inspire and help the other people around me. And hopefully the other person can do the same. If we can both do that, where are we going to be? We're going to be like superheroes joined together. And there it is, my friends. I hope you got some inspiration and food for thought with this card. A little bit more serious, a little bit more heavy, but very, very real. And this is why I've chosen this deck to do this show, because it really gets us to think about things that are really important. And as I said, especially in this time now where things are so complicated, I think it's good to be able to look back inward and go, okay, let's see, is everything here in my life the way that I would like it to be? Changing your perspective, but wanting to change it not because you want to cause trouble, but because you want things to be better and things to be stronger, especially in this time when it is such a challenging world out there. So, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. If you haven't seen my daily cards on Instagram, please go over there and check that as well. I will be back here tomorrow for another episode of The Power of Surrender with Hugh. I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great rest of your day.